When I moved into my first apartment alone, I thought it would be the start of something good. Independence. Freedom. A fresh chapter. I was 24, had just landed a job at a local law firm, and found a decent one-bedroom unit in an older brick building in the heart of Milwaukee. It wasn't fancy, but it was safe, or at least that's what the leasing office told me. Quiet street. Secure entrances. The usual pitch. The building had 3 floors, 6 units in total, 2 on each floor. I was in 6A, top floor, right side. Directly across the hall was 6B. Now, this might sound weird, but I never once saw the tenant in 6B during the first 2 weeks of living there. Not once. I'd hear the door creak open late at night sometimes. Heavy footsteps walking down the hall. But no voices. No music. No TV. Just silence, like someone was trying not to exist. I thought maybe it was just an older person who kept to themselves. No big deal. But then, little things started happening. One night, around 11 p.m., I was brushing my teeth when I heard this soft, clicking noise. Like a pen tapping or fingernails drumming on a table. It was coming from the wall I shared with 6B, my bathroom was back to back with theirs. The clicking went on for maybe 30 seconds. Then silence. I assumed it was just someone bored. Maybe watching a movie. Maybe tapping along to a podcast or something. But then it happened again the next night. And the night after that. Always at the same time, 11:02 p.m. I told myself it was nothing. I mean, old buildings make weird noises. Maybe it was pipes or something. Still, it bothered me. I mentioned it to my friend Laura one afternoon while we were getting lunch. She laughed and said, "You sure it's not a ghost?" We joked about it, but that night when I got home, I noticed something I hadn't before. There was a peephole in my door, and just below it, like a foot lower, was a tiny pin-sized hole. Barely visible. Like someone had drilled it from the other side. Right where the peephole of apartment 6B would face mine. I stared at that little hole for what felt like forever. Then I covered it with a sticky note. I didn't know what else to do. It felt ridiculous to call the cops over something so small. But that night, the clicking didn't happen. Instead, I heard soft breathing through the wall. Just breathing. I didn't sleep at all. The next morning, I went straight to the building manager's office. Her name was Diane, probably mid-50s, polite but blunt. I told her about the hole in the door, the breathing, the tapping, everything. She frowned, then said, "You're in 6A, right?" I nodded. Then she sighed. "You don't need to worry about 6B. He's been there a long time. Keeps to himself. Bit strange, maybe. But harmless." I asked, "What's his name?" She hesitated. "Mr. Bell." That was it. No first name. Just Mr. Bell. When I pressed further, she just said, "He's not breaking any laws. If he does, you let me know." That night, I got home from work around 7. As I climbed the stairs, I saw something I'll never forget. The door to 6B was open. Not wide, just ajar. The lights inside were off, and it was completely black beyond the threshold. I stood there, frozen. I could feel cold air leaking out. Like the inside of his apartment was somehow colder than the hallway. Then I heard it. A whisper. Coming from the dark. "I see you." I didn't wait. I bolted into my apartment, slammed the door, locked it, deadbolted, and pushed my dresser in front of it. I didn't sleep that night, either. The next morning, I went across the hall and knocked on 6B's door. I don't know what I was expecting, maybe an explanation, maybe to confront him. No answer. I knocked harder. Nothing. So, I crouched down, looked under the door, and saw something move. A shadow, like someone was standing right on the other side. Not moving. Not saying anything. Just, there. I backed away and ran down to Diane's office again. I told her I wanted to break my lease. She looked annoyed but agreed to let me go without penalty if I left by the end of the month. Fine by me. The next few nights were quiet. No tapping. No breathing. No whispers. Then came my final night in that apartment. I had packed up almost everything. Just had a few boxes left in the living room. Around 11 p.m., I was sitting on the couch eating takeout when I heard a knock at the door. 3 slow knocks. I froze. Got up. Looked through the peephole. It was dark. The hallway light was off. But someone was standing there. I couldn't see their face, just a silhouette. Thin. Slightly hunched. Not moving. I whispered, "Who is it?" No reply. I said louder, "Do you need something?" Still nothing. Then, I saw a hand slowly rise and press against the peephole from the outside. I stepped back. The knock came again. And then, a whisper. "Don't go." My heart nearly stopped. I stood there, holding my breath. The whisper came again. "Don't leave. I'll be lonely." I didn't answer. I just backed into my bedroom, locked the door, and called the police. When they arrived, there was no one outside my door. But on the floor, was a note. Slid under the door. It said, in scrawled handwriting, "You're the first one who ever talked to me." I moved out the next morning. I never found out who Mr. Bell really was. Or if that was even his name. But I still think about him sometimes, the man who lived in 6B. Who never left. Who watched through holes in the wall. And who whispered to me through the dark. I wonder if anyone else has moved into 6A since then. And if so, have they started hearing the tapping yet?